Hey, what's up everybody? This is Chicken Possible, back with some news for you all. So let's go ahead and start with the big announcement of this video. So I have decided, at least for the time being, to go ahead and retire the Rewards Hunter channel here on YouTube, or at least retire it in terms of, kind of stopping to make new videos for the channel. So it's been a lot of fun making content over the last nearly 5 years for you and with you all. And I've really enjoyed my time getting to know you all and playing games with everybody. Unfortunately, it's looking like it's time for the channel to more or less come to an end. So I'll talk some more about the details of what's next for the Rewards Hunter channel at the end of this video. But I wanted to go ahead and start out by moving on to a little bit of history. Let's talk about how things were versus how they are now. So I started getting really into the rewards program around 2018 or 2019 when I was, in the middle of working on a bunch of other projects. In April of 2020, we were, in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and in the middle of widespread quarantines throughout the US and other parts of the world. And I personally encountered a quest for the game Alien Isolation. I'm sure a bunch of you remember that one. And I was initially unable to complete that one on my own. This was the first one where I was kind of really struggling with it and trying to figure out what to do. I couldn't find any good guides that explained how to do it, so I decided to go ahead and do some research and then find a way on my own to get that one finished. And this ultimately became my first YouTube guide and video, and it would ultimately lead to the creation of this Rewards Hunter channel. I think there were a lot of interesting quests during those first years of the channel, 2020 to 2023, that required a good bit of work to complete. So there was a need for the channel. Sometimes people were able to complete quests on their own and they didn't need the videos, but sometimes the quests involved more work and the descriptions didn't immediately communicate exactly how you needed to play the game. So lots of people found the channel one way or another. I'm going to now talk a bit about my perceptions of how some of these things work behind the scenes. Please keep in mind that I'm not a Microsoft employee, I never have been, and I'm also extremely biased here since the changes that have happened have had both positive and negative impacts for me personally. So please take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Also, I do want to say that I love Xbox, and I always have. The Quest team also has some awesome people on it that I've met personally, and I've agreed with a lot of their decisions, but obviously we're not going to agree on everything. I do want to make sure that I'm being honest here with them, the community, and my future self when I rewatch this video about what led to this decision for me to retire the channel. One of the interesting facts about quests that didn't get talked about a lot was that the way that the Xbox team built the quests, they relied upon something in the Xbox ecosystem that was called stats. So the way this works is when games are built for the Xbox ecosystem, developers have the choice of whether or not to track additional gameplay statistics while the gamer is playing the game. Some games took advantage of this capability and others did not. This in turn meant that while we could potentially have a quest, and we did have a quest for hugging characters in the 2017 game Disneyland Adventures, because it had stats, there was unfortunately no way to create a quest for other games like 2021's Forza Horizon 5 because the developers didn't include any stats when they made the game. So unfortunately, because the underlying architecture of Xbox quests relied on stats being present in the game, and due to the additional requirement that the game used in the quest also had to be part of the ever-evolving Game Pass library, this limited the selections that the Quest team could offer us as quests. So this led to a couple of negative side effects. The first one is that quests began to be reused over and over again, which led to additional frustration and complaints. And then the second one was that quests were sometimes assigned because the games met the criteria, even though they had terrible interfaces and were not well liked by the community, such as Black Desert was the classic example of this. I tried to help a bit by suggesting some new potential quests that could have helped a bit to offer some fresh new content, along with the stats that were needed for quests, and could have replaced some of the quests that I and the Quest team were hearing repeated complaints about. And unfortunately, even though the community overall really liked the game-specific quests, you might say that the squeaky wheel got the grease in this case, and the game-specific quests were ultimately removed. Additionally, in 2023, there were a number of negative things that impacted the program. In approximately April of 2023, some of the punch cards that were part of the Microsoft Rewards app on the Xbox began to regularly fail to award points after the requirements had been met. This sort of thing led to additional complaints and lots of support requests that went to the Microsoft Rewards support request team. My perception is that the support requests related to the technological issues that were occurring with the punch cards were likely becoming overwhelming for the team, and that reducing the number of support requests became one of their top priorities. This may have been forced upon them by higher level managers at Microsoft, but again, this is just a guess. Another thing that happened in 2023 was the number of points being made available continued to decrease from what they had been in 2020 to 2022. And just a few items from the news in 2023 as well. Let's not forget that Microsoft had to lay off 10,000 employees that year. They spent $69 billion for the Activision Blizzard acquisition, and they found out that they owed $29 billion in back taxes to the IRS. So my perception was that these factors led to a need to decrease the budget being used to give out rewards points. This meant that less points needed to be distributed to us, the gamers, and things needed to be simplified so that less support tickets would be filed and therefore less man hours would be spent on supporting the program. So put all of that together, and then we find ourselves in 2024. So this is when what I call the vanilla quests began to appear, and quests that promoted specific games were removed. So punch cards had already started to be phased out by this point, and now literally the only thing that required any real gameplay was the daily quest that required you to earn an achievement in a Game Pass game. Fictional Game Pass quests was a series that I started in 2024 here on the channel to show a different way that quests could potentially be reworked to involve newer, more popular games that the community might enjoy more. This involved using a slightly different Xbox subsystem called achievement tracking, rather than relying upon the lesser used stat system that wasn't as popular among game developers. So that takes us to this year, 2025, and the vanilla quests became even more vanilla. There is now not a single achievement or in-game goal of any sort that must be accomplished in order to earn the maximum number of rewards points. Literally, all you have to do is open a Game Pass game on your console for 15 minutes each day. You don't even need to play it. You can actually just leave it on the startup screen and go work on your laundry or something. I think the somewhat naive idea that maybe the Xbox team might be floating around is that this will inspire people to get out and try new games more so than they currently do. Maybe they're thinking that gamers are spending all their time in only one or two games, and this will expand their horizons. That might be a possibility, but you will also have a lot of this. Okay, so pardon a brief tangent here. Have you ever seen the CBS TV show The Amazing Race? It's one of my all-time favorite shows, and I would recommend that you get a Paramount Plus subscription and start watching from the very beginning back in season 1. It's a ton of fun. So in my opinion, when I started the Rewards Hunter channel back in 2020, the Xbox program, the Microsoft Rewards program, was a lot like The Amazing Race. There are all these planned out activities for you to explore games, to find a way to accomplish the planned objective, and ultimately earn a bunch of points. It was an adventure. It also got us to try out multiple new games every month. Not just open them and leave the Xbox sitting there earning points on its own, but to actually journey into the game a bit and accomplish something, even if it was just for a few minutes. Quests were like this too. There was a journey involved and a destination that maybe you weren't initially sure how to get there. Someone on the graphic design team at Xbox knows what I'm talking about. Look at this map with the meandering dashed line that ultimately leads to the buried treasure at the X marks the spot at the end. Now that's a visual representation of a quest. Now on the other hand, what if I asked you to do the same thing day after day? What if I said you're gonna have to make breakfast for yourself each and every day? Would you say to yourself, I am embarking upon a quest? I don't think you would. This is a simple, ordinary daily task that involves little to no thought. This, my friends, is no quest. Look at the way they're visually representing it here. It's a checklist. Today, get up, make breakfast. Tomorrow, get up, make breakfast. Thursday, get up, make breakfast. These are tasks and not quests. It's semantics, but from now on, I'm going to be referring to them as tasks and not quests. So what's good about the new Xbox Game Pass tasks? They're very, very, very easy. They're so easy that literally nothing here requires explanation or guidance. This is the current primary focus of the task team, to make something easy that pumps out a few rewards points. Is this engaging for players? Will they remember this and become more loyal to Xbox and gaming because of these very routine tasks? That remains to be seen. So anyway, this all leads me back to the retirement of the Rewards Hunter channel that I mentioned at the beginning of this video and what comes next. So I do still have a few more guides that I'll be putting out over the next few weeks just to kind of close up shop, so to speak. Some of you all have been working through the game Return to Grace with me over the last month. This still feels like a loose end to me, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to work through guides to finish up the remaining 26 achievements in that game, even though those achievements will no longer lead to any rewards points. I also have channel memberships that are available here on the Rewards Hunter channel. So for everyone who has signed up for a channel membership, my plan is to also retire that program at the end of January. Since I'm not planning to continue making guides for the channel in future months, my feeling is that this would be the best path forward. So you might be asking what happens if quests do get revitalized and the Rewards Hunter channel is needed in the future. Well, it depends on what the new quests look like, but I'm not ruling out totally the possibility of making more content in the future. Just kind of depends on what the future holds. As far as the existing videos that I have here on Rewards Hunter, I do plan to leave all of these up and available here for as long and as many years as YouTube will let me. So please feel free to revisit videos and travel back through some of those adventures with me, especially if you haven't seen them all before. Let me know if there's anything you can't find. For me personally, I've always had a lot going on to keep me busy, and I always have had a full-time job in addition to the Rewards Hunter channel. I'll probably continue to earn Microsoft Rewards points for my own personal use, at least for the time being. As far as gaming, I think many of you know that my favorite game series is the Halo games. I've been working for years on trying to earn all the achievements in every version of every Halo game released on every platform, which is a lot of games and a lot of achievements. I'm getting close to that goal, and I think I'm closer than maybe anyone ever has been to reaching it, so I'll keep working on that. Another personal project I've been working on is actually a new invention that I'm planning to patent and will hopefully begin selling sometime in 2025, so feel free to wish me luck on that project. And finally, I just want to take a moment to thank the Xbox team who put together so many colorful experiences for us during those first few years. I also want to thank you all for checking out all my videos here on YouTube, and I want to say that I've had an amazing time traveling through all these games along with you. Your comments and support have really made this an awesome experience for me. Thank you for sharing this journey with me, and I wish you all the best in the future.